Now at 11, 93 years old and covered in filth. Tonight, a man charged in a serious case of elderly neglect speaks out against the allegations.
I've done nothing but take the very best care of her. I love her and I would die for her.
Good evening, I'm Jameson Euler.
And good evening, I'm Wendy Ryan. Thanks for joining us. Her ribs broken, her eyes crusted shut. Just a short description of the 93-year-old woman when paramedics found her. And the man in charge of caring for her is now fighting the charges against him. He's opening up to our Jacqueline and Glace about who he says is really to blame. Jacqueline?
Well, Chuck Lyerly isn't related to the woman he cared for, but does call her mom. And while the sheriff's office is calling this one of the worst cases of elder abuse in recent county history, Lyerly says they've got it all wrong.
I love her and I would die for her.
Chuck Lyerly says he's been living with and taking care of 93-year-old Marion Baldwin here at her Newport Richey home for the past 3 years.
I've done nothing but take the very best care of her.
On Friday, Lyerly says he called 911. Baldwin had apparently slipped in the bathroom 2 days before and broke 2 of her ribs. Paramedics brought Baldwin here to Trinity Medical Center.
Her eyes were crusted shut, her mouth was very dry, her lips were flaky, she had a feeding tube that had turned black.
Lyerly says those conditions came about while Baldwin was at the hospital. Allegations the hospital denies. Lyerly also offered an explanation for Baldwin's infected feeding tube. He says he ordered new feeding tubes, but they were not delivered on time.
It took the longest time to just get a little simple Y port.
Neighbor Phoebe Lakin, who's a medical assistant, told ABC Action News Lyerly called her over to take a look at Baldwin back in May. She says what she saw prompted her to call the abuse hotline and then the police.
He was in the kitchen using a screwdriver to clean her feeding tube.
Lyerly doesn't deny using a screwdriver on the tube. He says while waiting for the new tubes to arrive, it was the only way to get the tube open to keep feeding Baldwin.
I had to keep cleaning the same Y port out over and over, and that's why I pulled it out with the screwdriver, because it got all gummed up.
Police did do a welfare check back in July and deemed everything to be fine.
If I was abusing and neglecting her, why wasn't I gone a long time ago?
According to hospital officials, Baldwin is doing fine, but the sheriff's office says Baldwin will be sent to a hospice, and it's unclear how much longer she'll live. Lyerly, meanwhile, says a judge has banned him from seeing Baldwin. Jameson?
Jacqueline, thank you.